Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to the Finnish broadcast of the Borneo Miler here in Sabah, Malaysia. 100 miles across Sabah in and around Kota Belud. It's been incredibly hot in the past 2 days. Now again, it's almost 10 a.m. We are about 28 hours into the race and we are waiting for the two lead runners. It's Amir Zaki and Andrew Farmers, and they are neck and neck. Amir Zaki seemed to have the upper hand in the last couple of hours. He was slightly faster than Andrew Farmers in each section. But in the last section, Zaki appeared more tired than the Australian. And if we can trust the GPS system, Farmers is actually edging closer bit by bit. So we have no clue who is going to emerge here as the race winner. We are waiting for them to appear here at the end of this road. And as you can see here, the finish is right there on the Kadamayan Square. If there is a sprint finish, it's going to be very difficult, that's for sure, because there's a chicane that they have to go through. And this is Borneo TMBT territory, and same organizer, of TMBT, Borneo Ultra Trails, and they have also this famous mandatory gear check. And we see a runner coming, but I can assure you that it is not either of them. It's the leading woman in the 25-kilometer race, which is also part of the program of this 100-miler event. It's a foreign woman who has been, quite impressive. I think she is third overall. The first two runners, male runners, were from Sabah. And she was third overall at the last checkpoint, 7 kilometers from the finish line, and she was the only one running uphill. It was a long climb, the same as the 100 miles people, and she was running uphill still. So strong performance by this lady. We are not focused on 25 kilometers, so I'm not sure what her name is at the moment, but we take her finish. Congratulations. So she enters the Kadamayan Square, the event arena of the Borneo Miler event. The 100 miles used to be part of the BUTM event that is taking place every year in March, but it was taken out to form a standalone event this weekend. It's a long weekend in Malaysia. It's a public holiday tomorrow, and that is also why runners will continue the race until tomorrow. So plenty of time still left. There's actually a couple of runners who just left the aid station here, because this is also aid station 6. It's halfway point. There's 2 loops that runners have to do, and they come back here halfway at kilometer 78, if I'm not mistaken, so a little bit before halfway. And there were 3 runners that just left this aid station. I think also they are the last runners still on the course, because there have been quite a few DNFs already, particularly in the women's race. We have Paulina Svoboda, early leader, who dropped out at aid station 4. At aid station 6 is right here at night. Adelina Lintanga decided to call it a day, even though she was then running in second place. But she didn't feel well like many others. Jeffrey Boudin, Bernardo Linus also had seriously upset stomachs due to the heat, for sure, dehydration, heat stroke. Andy Lee, he was struck by severe cramps. No way he could continue the race. He was also one of the early leaders. And it's a race of attrition, very clearly. But Andrew Farmers, Amir Zaki, and in the early parts also Amirul Amin, they were the fastest, and they basically decided the competition amongst each other. Amirul dropped back a little bit in the nighttime. He's still running now in 4th place, together with the Bruneian Ibni Nudin. And I'm of course forgetting to say here that Gustin Tiam is running in 3rd place, and he's about half an hour behind the 2 leaders. He's been behind them already the whole night, around roughly the same time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. There we see Mark Timin, who is also reporting for Asia Trailmaster this weekend, of course. And we are waiting for them to up here, and we are especially wondering who is going to be first. Andrew Farmers, Australian but living in Sabah. He was part of the Australian team in the Asia Trail Master final last December in Philippines, so he's not unknown. And Amir Zaki was of course also part of the winning team Malaysia in that ATM final. He was the one taking care of Sally Yap towards the end of that race. Sally Yap, who was second ahead of Vanya Knops, which was an enormous success for her. But Amir Zaki is doing his first 100 miles this weekend. So he's known as a 50k runner, short distance, medium distance runner, winning a lot of races on that distance. But he decided to give it a try on the ultra long distance, the 100 miles. And it's been working out pretty well, we can say. The big absentee of this weekend is of course Milton Amat, the Sabahan number one, Malaysian number one, we can also say. And Milton Amat is in Austria for the World Championship race that will take place at the end of next week, together with some other Malaysian runners like Wilson Singing, also from Sabah. Muhammad Afindi is there, Akmal Azmi. Sally Yap, as I mentioned before, is also there. So some of the better known elites in Malaysia, they had the opportunity to go to Europe and do the race, the World Championship race over there. Mark, standing next to me, what's
Hello.
your impression of this Borneo Miler, personal impression?
It's going to be interesting. We're going to see head-to-head between Amizaki and Andrew Farmers. Both are starting from midnight yesterday, actually, from at station 6 to at station now. This Andrew Farmers wouldn't give a gap behind Amizaki, so I keep following until let's see how it goes later on.
Exactly. Mark, you were reporting during the night for ATM, so thanks a lot for that also.
Right.
I'm sure you're also quite tired now. But you were also paying attention to the women's race, right? So
exactly.
Raylan James is fantastic
Yes.
in the first place.
Yes.
And in second place now we have a newbie from Sabah.
Yes, Butet.
Yeah.
Lena Marilyn Butet, we call it.
What's the impression she has given you at the aid stations where you saw her?
When I started observing these potential runners during Cultra, so she has this kind of motivation to run an ultra distance. So that is how it seems like she's a good runner as well. She knows how to rest, she knows when to sleep, and she knows what to eat actually. So she's in good hands with Kolumpa actually. So
Exactly.
we're gonna see for today races. This is the result that she accepted.
Yeah, she's still second place now in the early morning here. So Team Kolumpa, of course, is the team from the Lintanga sisters.
Yes.
Adelina, Jessica, and also Lolita now.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jessica told us yesterday that they have a fourth sister who is also coming to trail running very soon.
Yeah,
So,
soon.
yeah, in the women's race, so Raylan James is leading. She is also together with Ibni Nudin and Amirul Admin. So they are running together in the last couple of hours. And we see somebody coming there. We see two people coming there.
Yeah, it's 25 kilometers.
But it's 25 kilometers more or less, yeah. 25k runners. But as I was saying, so Raylan James has been in the lead of the women's race after Paulina Svoboda dropped out at aid station 4. Adelina Lintango took over in second place, but then also dropped out at aid station 6. And so we have now Linda Marilyn, Buktet, as right? Buktet,
Yeah,
Mark? Yeah,
Butet.
Butet. As she is apparently commonly called, is in second place. And in third place we have the Filipino duo of Angelian Pulanco, winner of Sierra Madre last month, and Emily Raga. So they are contesting the final step on the podium this afternoon and probably still this evening. Here we have indeed the next 25k runners. And so you see that when we look at maps and GPS maps, that it always appears as if they're very close, and then in the end you're still more than 10 minutes out. The last section, the last 7 kilometers, are not flat. So there was a long uphill climb, and it is on this uphill climb on a jeep track, in the forest, that we noticed that Amir Zaki seemed to be struggling a bit more than Andrew Farmers. Andrew Farmers was also using his poles to maximum effect. Zaki was not using poles. But at the end of that climb, out of the blue, Zaki again started running. So suddenly he didn't appear to be dead yet. So let's see what happens. It was a long straight also on this climb, and there's a possibility that Andrew Farmers could have seen Amir Zaki, and that of course gives you a mental boost if you can suddenly see the winner ahead of you.
This is a long stretch, 100 meter, 200 meter.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's taking a lot longer than we anticipated.
Yeah, I think they're fighting in the jungle. Shoo.
I hope they didn't get the wrong trail.
Yeah.
Can you check the GPS map?
Right, sure. Let me check. Okay, we are here now.
Oh yeah, so they're
So now we notice. Oh, look.
yeah,
So the
they're
latest
right
update now.
They're right there.
Head to head now.
Head to head.
Yes.
Okay. We were already said to the race director Klaus Pedersen that we hope it's not going to be a sprint because there's no finish line on the ground. And we remember what happened last year in BUTM. Mark, you were there.
Yes.
The sprint finish of Mohamed Afindi and Sumping in the 50k race.
Correct.
And nobody really could then decide the outcome, who won the race, and then they simply decide, okay, both of you are winners.
Correct.
Yeah.
But before they have to win this race, they need to check mandatory item first. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mentioned this already earlier in this live broadcast that this is the organization of TMBT, Borneo Ultra Trails, and they have always the mandatory gear check after the finish line,
Yes.
which is very tricky,
Yes.
as we have already found out several times. Also Hisashi Kitamura last year.
Lost his blinker.
Yeah.